signaling a heavy rain was coming. Lamb had just finished a long business trip and needed a place to rest. He chose a nearby hotel, a place that seemed cheap and convenient. But something was wrong. Lamb dragged his suitcase through the hotel door. The glass door opened slowly. Inside, the hotel lobby was deserted. The clock on the wall read 23:45. An old reception desk, the yellow light. The receptionist looked up at him strangely. As soon as he entered the lobby, Lamb felt a strange atmosphere. There was no conversation, no other guests, only the yellow light shining on the cold floor. The receptionist, a middle-aged man with a gaunt face, stared at him before reluctantly speaking in a slow, hoarse voice. "Do you need a room?" The man behind the reception desk looked up at Lamb with a strange look. There was a long silence before he pushed the key towards him. On it was written the room number, 405. Lamb took the key, but as he was about to turn around and leave, the employee whispered in a low voice, "If anyone knocks at night, don't open the door." Lamb paused, staring at him, but the employee remained silent, turning his face away as if he had said nothing. Before Lamb could ask more, the man turned his face away, as if he had never said anything. Lamb walked towards the elevator. The hallway was dark and long. The ceiling lights were flickering. A broken bulb made a click, click sound. The elevator opened. There was no one inside, but the floor was stained with water. It was like someone had just stepped out before he arrived. As the elevator doors were closing, the corner of his eye caught a figure standing in the corner of the dark hallway. But when he looked straight, there was no one. Darkness enveloped him for a moment. Then, when the light returned in the reflective metal wall of the elevator, there was a shadow that did not belong to him. As he stepped out into the fourth floor hallway, Lamb felt the temperature drop sharply. Room 405. The door was slightly open, as if someone had just entered before him. He walked into the room and turned on the light switch. But when the light flickered and then went out, in the reflection of the mirror, he saw someone standing in the room with him. Thinking that all this was just an illusion, Lamb put away his suitcase, washed his face, and went to bed to prepare for sleep after a long, tiring day of driving. Just as I was about to sleep, A knock came on the door. At first, it was very light, as if someone was just touching me lightly. Lamb hesitated, approached the door, asked loudly, but no one answered. Through the peephole, no one. When he turned back, the door was ajar. A cold breath came out from the dark hallway. Then, he heard a voice. "Hey, let me in." In front of him was a woman dressed in red. Her long hair covered most of her face. She stood still, not moving, but her eyes kept following him. Lamb tried to close the door, but the door seemed to be held tight by an invisible force. The woman continued to enter, slowly, as if she was floating. Lamb fell onto the bed, holding his breath. A cold hand touched his leg. He tried to scream, but his throat was choked. She leaned close to Lamb's face. One eye was white, the mouth was distorted. She opened her mouth, but there was no sound, only a horrible screech. Lamb jumped up. Everything disappeared. There was no one in the room. But when she looked in the mirror, it was not Lamb, but the woman in red. She smiled strangely. He rushed down to the reception desk and asked the staff about the woman in red. But when he heard the question, his face immediately turned pale. The staff recounted. Many years ago, a girl committed suicide in room 405. The girl sat on the bed, wearing a red cheongsam, crying silently. Suddenly, she rushed out the window and fell from the 4th floor. The staff said, "Everyone who has stayed in that room has seen her." Lin turned and left the hotel. When he left, he unconsciously looked up at the 4th floor window. And then the woman in red stood there, looking down at Lamb, eyes wide, smile twisted. Would you dare to stay in a strange hotel at night? If you heard a knock on the door in the middle of the night, would you dare to open the door? Please like and subscribe to the channel to receive the latest videos. Wish you a good night's sleep.